Hi everyone, it's Stuart Wilkinshaw here from Primary Sports Coaching, and today we are joined by PSCL coach, PECS mentor and strength and conditioning expert, Mr. Jack Edwards. Hi Jack.
Hi everybody, okay?
Today, Jack, we'd love to dig into your knowledge about the kind of things that grassroots players can do during lockdown. And also during any time where they've got to self-isolate as well. But before we dig in deep, Jack, can you give us a bit of a background into your experience and knowledge and your journey so far into sports coaching?
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Jack. So I started off with the company 10 years ago now. Long time ago, one of the original ones, 10 years ago. And throughout the time, been working in a lot of primary schools and a lot of grassroots teams, and then part of my passion throughout coaching was to do movement and getting fit and strong and things like that. So that then took me towards academy football, in particular women's academy football, and then from there I've gone on now to venture out a little bit further and now into tennis academy, which is, we've got some really good players, some nationally ranked players, which is good. So worked with quite a few internationals in the football scene, and then also that have gone on to Women's Super League. Then also now there's quite a lot of, like I say, nationally ranked junior players, which is coming through, which is good. So been doing that now for, in terms of SC, for about 10, 11 years now. Started that with university, so it's been a parallel thing with the company.
Fantastic. And qualifications wise, obviously you're qualified football coach, cricket coach, and in terms of strength and conditioning as well, what is your background in
strength and conditioning? So I'm currently going through a master's, which is another tick in a box, and I'm also UKSCA, which is UK Strength and Conditioning Association. I'm one of their accredited coaches as well. So in terms of that, I've got quite a bit of experience and qualification on that side as well.
So there's someone to dig in deep with, and you're the person to go to.
Yeah, I get some nice letters after my name.
So let's start off then with the top end then. So during lockdown one, obviously everything stopped, right, from grassroots right through to the top end of elite athletes. And what were the kind of things that those elite athletes were doing in their lockdown time to keep themselves ready? Because obviously they didn't know when they could start back.
In terms of the elite athletes, a lot of them will have either home gyms or bits of equipment to do that they can use at home, and they've got a lot of space in their homes because they're all millionaires and everything like that. So they've all got space and facilities to do so. And if they didn't, then they would have had their training facilities. They would have been open in a COVID secure way, so that they can actually come and train and lift and be strong and be fit and be quick still, which is partly down to obviously the facilities that they've got and the level that they're playing, but also their hunger and their drive to actually to know that, yes, it might start at any time, so I need to be ready regardless.
Yeah. I suppose when they've got their home gyms and their equipment to use at home, it's not like me going to the gym and looking at a machine going, right, I think I know how to use this machine.
No, very, very much. They'll all have their coaches. They'll all have trainer on the end of the phone, or on Zoom call or on anything like that says, right, what do I need to do today, coach? How many sets, how many reps, how quick am I lifting it? Because that's part of it. How quick do I lift? Rather than just, I've got to lift this thing heavy. It's actually the intent that they're doing it with. So everything was prescribed to them. Everything was given to them on a plate. So they knew they had to do it. And if they didn't, then you're seeing one or two now that are getting injured.
And then obviously we work down the scale, and so down to sort of the age that we work with in primary school ages.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard time for those children who love being around. Obviously they've got the school friends and they love having that interaction at school, but they also love having those friends that aren't in school, and love having those mates that they play maybe football with or rugby with or tennis with. And obviously now in a 4-week lockdown, I think we're a week and a half into that now, they're really missing that. And we're seeing some fantastic invention on the internet, coaches coming forward to try and engage players. But if you were a parent of a child or a coach of a child, say primary school age, what would be the kind of things that you'd be offering to those children or guide them towards, just so they can stay active and not as much to be ready for when football starts back or their sport starts back, but just to stay active and engaged, and stay in touch with their sport.
Yeah, so the good thing is that they've already, having come back between mid-August and September, they've already got a good 2 or 3 months there where they've been in the sport. So all that skills that they might have lost in lockdown and everything like that, that's all come flooding back to them. So that's always a good start. So they don't really have to start from nothing, which is always a really good position to be in. So I'd advocate play as much as they can play with your family bubble, with your little support bubble that you've got. Go to the park, go in your garden if you've got it, or whatever like that, and just play something. It might be playing a game of tig, have a little racing competition with your mum or dad or whoever it might be, or with your dog or your cat, whatever. It might be a jumping competition. As long as they're running fast and they're jumping strong, you've got half of the makings there to make up when you do go back into sport. So your biggest ones, literally, like I say, as long as they can run fast and they're agile as well as, so it's not just always running in straight lines, because a lot of game sports are not played in straight lines, and they're jumping because they will do a lot of jumping and landing and cutting and changing direction and things like that. As long as you've got them two still ticking over with a lot of intent and a bit of fun in it, they'll be on the way, definitely.
So fun is the key element in this, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely for the younger ones. Yeah, there's no point setting them in the front room and sticking on a PT video on it. Right, you're gonna do 10 squats and this, that, and the other, because the engagement will drop, the fun will drop, and they might not do it right in the first place if they've not been taught it in the first place.
What would be the dangers of performing, say, a repetition exercise, let's say a squat, like you mentioned there, or lunge, or a plank, for a young person who's not been shown how to do it properly?
Yeah, so in terms of exercises like that, your gym-based exercises, it's very much practice makes permanent rather than practice makes perfect. If they've got a bad squat position, like squat movement pattern in the first place, and you keep hanging on about it, battering on with it, they're going to develop into a poor squatter. They're not going to develop into a magically brilliant squatter overnight. You need someone there someone like myself who is qualified to be able to say they've got a hip hitch. They might have a poor spine posture. They might be quad dominant over the glutes and things like that. So there's a lot of different factors in a squat, and that's just one movement pattern. So rather than getting them to do it time and time again in front of your video in your front room, get them out playing. Miles more beneficial.
I see. No, that's really good advice. That, and I think there are loads of coaches out there that are setting things up and they're doing it. And as I suppose some of the ideas and ingenuity has been amazing to try and keep that.
With the greatest intent of it being heartfelt as well. But sometimes we need to put the brakes on that a little bit.
Yeah. No, sounds good. Without banging our own drum a little bit, there are some challenges we've set through lockdown 1, which is just simple. It could be catching exercises. I remember one that you set up, which I'll put a link on actually, where you were lying on the floor and you have to throw the ball in the air and then get up fast and try and catch it. So things like that are probably getting really, really fun and beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. Those, like I say, you've got something to work against, i.e. your ball and yourself. That drives the intent to actually get up fast. So, because when we're playing any sort of game sports, if we're on the floor, we're not going to get up slowly. We need to get up fast to get back in the action. And it's things like that that are going to help with these patterns where we get back into our sport.
Cool. And as we work then saying to say secondary school children, would their home programs or their way of staying active differ at all as you get older?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I would still advocate the sprinting, the running fast, and keeping that bit fun, keeping agile, keeping the jump strong and everything like that. That stays the same throughout. If we can't keep sprinting, then as soon as we go back into the sport and we do our first 50-yard sprint down the line or whatever it might be, we're going to pull something. That's natural. That's going to happen if we're not prepared for it. So that one I would keep banging on about: sprint and run fast and jump hard and things like that. That would be your big one. But then in terms of them, because they are that little bit older, that little bit more mature, you can now start to put them in front of your TV screen or your iPad or whatever and get them doing the lift, providing that they've been taught that in the first place. Again, it's not a case of they're older so they should be able to do it. It's a case of where are they in their experience of doing it. So you could be 30 odd and have a poor squat technique because you've not been taught it when you were 6, 7, 8, 9. Or you could be 12 and have the best squat technique in the world and be an Olympic lifter. in that sort of weightlifting program. So it's not a case of age defiance or age definition, should I say. It's a case of experience definition.
That makes sense. And I suppose there's a big risk in there as well, not just doing it wrong and not being effective in a lift or a squat, but also injury as well.
Definitely, yeah. Because if we do start to move in the wrong sort of patterns and we do keep repeating it, when we need to come in or out of that pattern with force in our sport, so it might be in a deceleration action and we've got poor hamstrings because we can't squat properly, then our hamstrings are going to blow. It's something that simple. If we can't do something properly, we put it into a lot of force and we might be jumping and landing, something's going to break down at some point, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose for those first few weeks back out of lockdown or in isolation, they're probably the greatest time where there might be an injury. We've seen that with when the pros came back in football, the intensity of having to go back from doing that home kind of training, sort of trying to stay fit, to then going back into full match play.
Yeah.
The amount of injuries that were sustained was quite incredible, wasn't it, really? So
definitely. And that's the one for the coaches. Just because you've lost 3 or 4 weeks, it's not a case of, right, I need to make up those 3 or 4 weeks in the first week back. That's not how it happens. The body isn't designed like that. So if you have lost those 3 or 4 weeks, the good thing is, like I say, you've already had 3 or 4 months where they've actually got back into those patterns and those movements. So it's not going to take as long as when we had the first lockdown, we were off for 6 months nearly. It's not going to take that long to get back into it. And especially when we talk about fitness in terms of aerobic capacity, that's the easiest one to get back. That's the easiest one to get back. Your speed is the slowest first, and then strength, and then is the aerobic. The aerobic's dead easy to get back. So you don't have to flog them in the first session. They'll get that back naturally.
I think that's really important. That's probably there'll be a lot of coaches out there that will want to make up for lost time, won't they? And really put the work in with the boys. And I suppose as well, there's this time around, this lockdown, as opposed to lockdown part 1, we have got schools open, and obviously ourselves we work in schools, so we do see firsthand the impact school has on children. And for me personally, my little boy's only 5, is in reception. But if he was older and he was playing team sports, I wouldn't be so worried about keeping him active every single night when he gets home from school in terms of doing skill sessions. I know that in schools now there's a big drive on being active in schools and play times, break times. I mean, paint a picture, Jack. When you see a playground at break time, at a school where we work in, what do you see there?
Well, we've got, if it's one that we work in, like I say, we've got a lot of sports equipment already out, so they'll be playing football, they might be playing cricket. A lot of playgrounds now have a rotation system. So they're in their bubbles, but they're rotating through. So they'll have 2 minutes to clean down equipment and then they'll go play a new sport. So they'll get the exposure to lots of different sports anyway. So there's no real need to keep going on every night, getting your skills up. Doing it 2-3 times a week is fantastic. Any more than that, and it might be overkill for them.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. I think where schools now are engaging in physical activity, it means that a child who even just spends half an hour every single dinner time playing football or basketball, they're actually getting 2.5 hours extra practice time a week.
Yeah, definitely.
Just at lunch times. And of course, now there's not just that as well. Schools are getting children outside for outdoor learning. In forest schools, doing active maths, active English.
Yeah.
So loads of activities happen at schools. So I think to reassure parents a little bit as well, don't worry, don't have a picture in your head that your children are sat at the desk for 6 hours a day, and then when they get home, we've got to go and do 4 hours exercise, make up for it. They are being active in schools, and they are burning up lots of energy, both physically and mentally. And like I say, Jack said then, great that they can spend a couple of nights a week on their preferred sport, practicing their skills. But the main bit is keep it really fun, light-hearted, engage your whole family, and set little challenges as well for each other. And I think that's the way forward for long term, is to keep everybody engaged and happy with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep it fun, keep it light-hearted. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Jack, for today. That was a really good insight into what you do.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll help loads of coaches and parents out there. Maybe put a few worries at ease as well. But hopefully, just give people an idea of the things they can do and should be doing during these hard times of lockdown and self-isolation. So, thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Just if you are looking for any additional challenges, so we've got some football challenges that are running. They're completely free as well. And again, great way to engage with your teammates. You can spend 2 minutes doing it. You can spend 10 minutes doing it, an hour. It's completely up to you. So as soon as your child starts to lose interest and move on to else, it's not a problem at all. But have a look at that. I'll put a link in the comments below and you can see that. Right, everyone, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Bye.